So, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and a warm welcome to our esteemed panelist, Professor Jasmeet, Professor Mehak, and Professor Mehak too is not here, and Professor Sunil Bhardwaj. And dear attendees, as we today, gather here to discuss Jammu and Kashmir budget, it's a crucial document that outlines the financial strategy and development priorities for the region. The discussion is particularly significant as we compare the budget allocation and utilizations from the previous budget, that is 2023-24, with the proposed allocation for the upcoming year 2025. We are going to discuss today, and our discussion will be focusing on the effectiveness of cost allocation. We will try to identify the underutilizations and try to explore strategic improvements for the future. By examining these aspects critically, we aim to provide insightful insights and also provide recommendations that can help in the economic growth and development of Jammu and Kashmir. So before I take over the session, I would like to introduce our organization, Jammu and Kashmir Economic Association. Jammu and Kashmir Economic Association is one of the young associations which is evolving. Today we are having our third session. First we have conducted 10-day research methodology workshop. Then recently we have discussed Union Budget 2024-25, and now today is our third. So I request all the participants and panelists kindly visit our website to know about Jammu and Kashmir Economic Association. So the website is jkeconomicassociation.com, where our motto is to empower economic growth. We want to leverage and provide opportunity communities who are from belonging to marginal sections of the society at national and international level. Our aim is to provide opportunities by organizing workshops, seminars, and we are also open to collaborations at national and international level. So soon we are going to conduct a 7 days research methodology workshop. So to stay updated, you have to visit our website, and we are having Facebook and LinkedIn page where we are updating every day regarding publishing blog articles and all. So once again, I am very thankful to all that you have joined our one of the important sessions. So let us look forward for a productive and insightful discussion. I would like to invite Owais to take the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Firdous. Am I audible to you?
Yes, you are.
Yes, sir.
All right. Hello, everyone. On behalf of Jammu and Kashmir Economic Association, I welcome all experts and participants for today's discussion. Before we start, I introduce our experts to participants for today's session. Today we have with us Dr. Jasmeet Kaur Lamba. Dr. Lamba are currently working as Professor and Associate Dean at OP Jindal Global University. She holds a PhD in econometrics and has multiple publications and book chapters with renowned scopes and index examples. Her research includes a broad range of subjects from SMEs development to climate change policies and sustainability in retail sector. Dr. Lamba is well expert in research tools like SPSS, EVOs, Smart PLS, EPS systems as well. Apart from her educational and research activities, she holds the position of Vice President for Academy of Global Business Advancement for North India chapter. Welcome, ma'am. We have with us another expert, Dr. Mehak Majid. Dr. Mehak Majid are currently working as Assistant Professor, Department of Economics, Islamic University of Science and Technology, Avantipura, Kashmir. She has completed their master's and doctorate from University of Kashmir, Srinagar. She has a specialization in gender economics, labor migration, computer applications for economics. Dr. Majid has published multiple research papers in reputed journals like Springer, Taylor and Francis, and GPW. She has worked on many projects and currently working on project entitled Socio-Economic and Political Inclusion of Gujars and Bhardwaj in Jammu and Kashmir, funded by ICSSR. Another expert we have with us from University of the Jammu, Dr. Sunil Bhardwaj. Dr. Bhardwaj are currently working as Assistant Professor of Business School at University of Jammu. Their area of specialization includes financial markets and instruments, entrepreneurship and skill development, financial economics. Dr. Sunil has more than 50 years of teaching experience in business studies and also had works at head of the Department of Business School, Bhadrwaj campus, University of Jammu. Meanwhile, Dr. Sunil are currently working on a research project funded by ICSSR. Last expert, we have Professor Mehak Jonjua. Professor Mehak are a journalist, researcher, author, and activist. She started her professional journey as a reporter with the Skirmish Chief in Canada. She then served as a financial reporter with Manchester Stalwart Capital Management in United States. As an educationist, Professor Mehak has worked with esteemed institutions such as DAV College and MCM DAV College in Chandigarh, IP University in New Delhi, and Amity University in Noida. Currently working as professor with Shadra University in Greater Noida. Dr. Mehak has 6 notable books to their credit. We welcome all. Now we will start the opening remarks from each experts. I request Dr. Lamba, please open up your camera and mic for your comments on J&K budget. Ma'am, we have 5 minutes for this first round and it will be followed by another round and we will get some questions as well. I request all the participants, as already said by the Dr. Firdous, please mute yourself. We will give you a good time for the discussion, or you can raise your hands or write your comments or questions in the chat box. Thank you. Please, ma'am, over to you now. Dr. Lamba.
Thank you, Owais. This was really extended welcome and thank you for the introduction as well. Just one clarification. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
you are very
all right. Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Another clarification. I have 5 minutes or we all have 5 minutes?
No, you already have 5 minutes and all the experts have 5 minutes for opening remarks and it will be followed by.
Got it, Owais. Thank you. Thank you so much. Not taking much time here, I would like to jump to some of the aspects of J&K, the discussion on budget. That's fine, but I'm not going to go all around the budget, but I would like to concentrate majorly upon skill development and industrial development allocations that have been done. We've seen in the past, but this year, especially this year, it has been a pyramid approach, right? A pyramid, the base has been like social inclusion, of course. And then you move up the ladder or you move up the pyramid, then comes women empowerment. Majorly, skill development for women empowerment is also somewhere around 6,000 programs that has been introduced only for the particular state that we are talking about. Moving up the pyramid, then we have new tourist destinations are to be looked upon. Everything aside, growth and employment is also almost at the top of the pyramid. Plus, apart from all these aspects, I'm thankful to the government that they've kept sustainability at the top. This sustainability has to do much ado with the industrial development in the state. Okay. Now, the industrial development allocation is somewhere around, I would say, divided into education sector and everything else also. It would be somewhere around 600 to 800 crores of rupees out of the 42,000 total allocation. This is the second highest after the security systems or police budget. So industrial development is something that I personally would like to monitor upon in the coming year. They've also promised some 46 new estates for industrial development. The revamping of startup policy, the revamping of infrastructural development, opening up to trade aspects also for some of the industrial products is also something that I'm looking forward to, especially coinciding with rural employment program also. I think the government has decided some 1,167 new units to be installed in the coming year. The numbers are very high. It looks good on paper, of course. The promises are very high graded, of course. The stakes are also high, I would say. The stakes are equally high because these numbers are not small. Especially if you are concentrating on the pyramid approach, the top level is sustainability. Whereas I am saying I would bring in 46 new industrial estates in the state. So are we planning like a green budgetary format for them? What are the production processes for these industries? Is it really coinciding with sustainability factor or not? Will we be hampering the beautiful climate of the state? The climatic conditions are to be taken care of. Of course, we need employment for our youth. So employment generation programs are only possible with industrial development. So let's look forward to in this particular year, of course. Now, in lieu of industrial development, the budget also talks about some skill development programs. I think the current institutions are now asked to bring in new programs. 10 institutions have been named by the government in the budget itself to bring in new programs for skill development of the youth. Within the youth, they are also concentrating on women empowerment. So this is something very positive to look forward to. Thankfully, the allocation of the resource is large. As far as what I have the numbers, so education, both higher education and quality education, total has almost 430 crores, which is a huge number to look forward to in an year, I think. The industrial estates and incentives are somewhere around 450 crores again. Trade impact needs to be, I think, a little more, but they've allocated around 15 crores for that, 1.5. The employment schemes, which is something to look forward to, is almost 200 crores. So these are certain allocations that they've done. This is only a part of the entire budget, which I'm concentrating, or I would rather look forward to industrial development, as I said before. So I think I'll wait for other panelists also. What do they have to bring in the discussion? And looking forward to it. That's all from my side, Owais. Back to you again.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your opening remarks and a very research point like the industrial development, as you said, is crucial for the employment of the youth. Absolutely. All right, ma'am. We will again come back to you. Now I request the Professor Jonjua, please have your views on this. Please, ma'am. You also have 5 minutes. Over to you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So this time, government has given a lot of focus on employment and skill development, which is very important because India is the fifth largest. India has the fifth largest youngest population. So this focus on employment and skill development in itself is very important. And this time, Jammu and Kashmir budget focuses this focus on employment and skill. It reflects a comprehensive approach to fostering economic growth and creating job opportunities through targeted incentives, support for employees, skilling programs, and financial aid. The government aims to build a robust employment ecosystem that will benefit all sections of the society. And these incentives are expected to significantly enhance the region's economic scenario, providing a solid foundation for sustained growth and prosperity. And this time, the 3 major schemes which have been launched, and that's for the first timers, will be entering the market and with the objective, to support the individuals who are newly entering the formal workforce, providing an incentive of 15,000 rupees per month. That's the wage which has been provided in eligibility. They have provided a salary cap of 1 lakh rupees. I think the scheme aims to ease the transition for the new employees and providing them a boost, providing them a financial support who are timers and who are entering into this workforce. Then a lot of jobs will be created in the manufacturing sector, and this will obviously provide an incentive, the additional employment in the manufacturing sector, which is very important because J&K, after this abortion of Article 370, has seen a lot of industries being set up and the business which is being encouraged. It will benefit that benefit will be linked to the employment of the first-time employees as well. And by targeting the manufacturing sector, the scheme is expected to stimulate job creation and growth in the sector that is vital for economic development of the state. And then there is support to the employees, which is very important. Employers will be given additional benefits. They'll be given incentives as well. The reimbursement up to rupees 3,000 per month for 2 years towards EPFO contributors for each additional employee which they'll be hiring. And this will obviously have a good economic impact on the state as well. And women this time will be given a lot of incentives, will be entering the workforce. The hostels will be developed. Special training centers will be developed for them. Then market access for women SHG enterprises. That's the promotion for market access for enterprises run by women self-help groups that will be given importance. These measures aim to create a supportive environment for women as well, enhancing their participation in the workforce and contributing to economic diversity and growth. Then the skilling programs, special skilling programs will be launched. That's the Youth Skilling Initiative. That will be a centrally sponsored scheme in collaboration with the state government and industry to skill 20 lakh youth over a time period of 5 years. Then there'll be ITIs, which will be upgraded during this tenure, upgrading 1,000 ITI hubs and spoke model with a focus on outcome orientation. Then there'll be industry-aligned course content which will be provided. And this comprehensive skilling initiative will ensure that the youth of J&K are equipped with the relevant skills, increasing the employability and meeting the demands of modern industries, which is very important in this global world. Then financial support for skilling and education will be provided, and skilling loans will be provided by the government, and revision of the model skill loan scheme to facilitate loans up to 75 lakhs with a government promoted fund guarantee which will be provided and which will be benefiting 25,000 students annually. Education loans, extra educational loans will be provided up to rupees 10 lakh for higher education. And these financial support measures will definitely provide the necessary funds for skill development, and higher education will automatically be promoted in the state. So I think in all, it's a good budget, but let's hope, how it comes into shape, how the employers take it, how the employers shape that. That's very important.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for your comments. We will get back to you with some discussion. Now I request our young and dynamic economics Prof. Dr. Mehak Majid. Please have your opening comments on it. Actually, I want to say, ma'am, you have just joined us since we have introduced our panelists to our experts, since we have already introduced you to our all the participants. So, ma'am, you have the 5 minutes for this first round, and it will be followed by another round with some questions and some questions to you. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. And sorry everyone for being a bit late. I was traveling from office back to home. Okay, so I have a bit, I would be mostly discussing from the perspective of a developmental economist. There are some things that are good about the budget and some things where I think, really need to relook. First of all, talking about our resource percentage, 34% of our resources are coming from central grants. Now, my concern here is that center has always been very generous while giving grants to Kashmir, but my concern really is, where are we spending these grants? So if we look at the grants and aids and all kind of incentives we have received from the center over the period of time, the point is, have we been able to utilize these grants in such a manner that whatever is created out of that is sustainable? So mostly I think we have been missing on that. Very important thing that we need to look at, of course, through this budget and other budget, is how we are actually utilizing the budgets that we are getting, which maybe others are not getting as well. So that's one of my main concerns here. Others are fine. On the expenditure pattern, again, there is a bit of, there are some problems which I see with the economy. And since I've been looking at different segments of the economy, so here also 27% of the expenditures are going on salaries. Of course, on the fact that the state employs a lot of people, the UT employs a lot of people, but then it's still a lot. 9% is going in interest. So again, these, I see a lot of leakages this way. Instead, we could have sustainable solutions all throughout. Okay. Coming to a very important part of the budget where I see the allocation, a lot of my colleagues agree with the fact that industrialization is important. I agree with that. But a very important point about Jammu Kashmir economy is that we really need to see what kind of industry. We cannot do manufacturing. We cannot do big manufacturing at all. We might be able to do micro and small units, but the ecosystem is very fragile. We do big industrialization. We try to do manufacturing. It's going to affect our ecosystem, which is very fragile. And climate change is already a reality we're all facing. So industry is a thing which I see as a concern. Yeah, one very good sector that JK economy has all the potential to thrive in is tourism. But what I see from the allocation of the major schemes and other allocations that are made, tourism sector is not really given a big push, which is a bit of a concern. Again, from the developmental perspective, because we would, after all, require a healthy tourism sector. Because in tourism, what we are selling is only goodwill. So it means that we don't actually need to do a lot of manufacturing. We can save the ecosystem, we can save the economy simultaneously. So there is a sustainability in tourism sector associated with Kashmir. With the somebody rightly mentioned about the youth bulge that India is going through. Average age in Kashmir, or the median age in Kashmir, is again approximately around 30 years. So it means that we need to employ a lot of people. There is no big private sector in here, which means that the only substitute we are left with is entrepreneurship. And the budget has some kind of allocations about the entrepreneurship. Maybe you're developing some new industrial estates and other things. But again, I think that our budget really needs to look for micro, small, and medium based entrepreneurship. If we are doing the industrial estates, I tell you, because we run an incubation center in our university, for example. So a potential entrepreneur is a person who doesn't have resources. He has good ideas, he had the agency and other things, he has all those things, but he lacks resources. So it means that we need to look at what kind of industry we are creating, what kind of industrial estates what are we creating, and a very important thing that the budget needs to align itself with is, to the best of my understanding, is our industrial policy. We have a number of them. We have the startup policy, we have the latest industrial policy, we have the tourism policy, and also those policies. So my analysis of the budget till now is that a bit of link is missing. We have to understand what we want, that's fine, but there has to be a feasibility, a feasible transition from what we envision in our budget document, for example, and what we envision in our industrial document. Both have to align with themselves, and then they have to be really practicable. So these are some of my major concerns. That altogether the budget looks, the allocations are really good, but there are some things we really need to look at how they are formed and how these estates and other things are developed, so that a common problem is targeted in terms of human capital, in terms of the economic issues that we are facing, in terms of the social problems, because everybody, after all, looks at the budget, what we are going to get. And after the recent elections and other things, people have really been looking forward to the budget. So again, I think it's a good budget, but the only thing we need to take care of is how the implementation part is done, because that is going to be very important. Their micro definitions are not there. So I'm looking forward to good, and let's hear what others have to say on that. So that is from my side. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for your comments. Like you talked about the utilization of the budget. We will talk about it a bit later in this discussion. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for it. Now I request Dr. Sunil, please have your Dr. Sunil Bhardwaj, please have your analysis on J&K budget 2024.
Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you, Dr. Firdous, Owais, and all the panelists for having me here. Am I audible properly?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are very much audible.
Okay, so all the panelists have made very important points related to the budget, because annual financial statement is a very important document, and it becomes more critical for a union territory like Jammu and Kashmir, where we face number of challenges, and how to go about it, it's very important. So as Dr. Mehak has rightly pointed out, that whenever we try to analyze this particular document, we see both the sides. We see there are certain areas where the government has budget well, good going, but there are certain areas which we really need to focus. For example, I am very happy that there is a good amount of allocation for agriculture and allied sector, because it constitute around 17 to 80% of J&K's economy, along with horticulture and industries as well, which constitute around 8%. But it's very important that what sort of development we want in Jammu and Kashmir, because Jammu and Kashmir is a very fragile state when we see from environment point of view. So what type of development we want, that is very important, and she has rightly pointed out that it's good that they have allocated good amount for agriculture sector, for allied sector, for tourism sector, because it is these are those sectors from where major part of GDP is coming, and rest is coming from the in the form of central aid to Jammu and Kashmir. And if we see the implementation of budget over the last few years, we see that asset creation has been very limited in Jammu and Kashmir. Most of the expenditure has been done in the form of revenue expenditure, and asset creation is very limited, as a result of which we are earning very very less. And most of the expenditure is going in the form of our salaries, pensions, interest. And if you critically analyze our state of finance in Jammu and Kashmir, our accumulated debt is approximately 49 to 50% of overall GDP of our state. So if in the same way we continue, and if earnings will be minimized, the a situation in finance which we called as debt trap. So already we are in such a state of affairs. Beside this, the administration or the government's incomes are not as per the projected terms. As a result, at the end of every budget, we request center to give us some grant again. So I think panelists had made a very important points that fine means over the years, over 8 9 years, we have seen that overall budget has almost doubled. But how we are spending that in Jammu and Kashmir, that is very 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 important. And how we have to go around it is also very important, that how we have to plan our future is very important. A few things which the center is doing very well on that. One, I want to mention about the logistic cost. The road infrastructure which is being built in Jammu and Kashmir means travel time has been reduced to approximately 50%. Uh, I hope railway will soon be a reality in Jammu and Kashmir. That will again add to our economy. And the way government is planning, it's okay, but still we need to rethink, remodel, and relook at the things so that we can plan for future. Okay, so asset creation, capital expenditure should be high. Tourism is a very good sector. Agriculture and allied is a very good sector. We have a lot of resources, but how to use these resources is very important. A sustainable development model has to be there. We cannot exploit tourism industry, we cannot exploit, because we see the natural calamities happening presently in Uttarakhand, in Himachal Pradesh, because we cannot bank totally on this. There is a threshold of the mountains. We have to take care of this. There are, we see very good figures that more than means number of tourists have come to Kashmir. But if we see, there is a crowding in effect in Kashmir itself. There are few uh, areas where you will find lot of tourists, and there are number of areas where you don't find any tourists. So equitable development we have missed. We have limited tourist spots which we have developed. We have to spread tourists to different areas where we have more threshold. We have to explore new tourist destinations, and development must be equitable, and development must be sustainable, because for Jammu and Kashmir, we have this thing is very important. It's critical. I think in this way we have to plan our future. This is my few points, opening points in this concern. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bhardwaj, for your initial comments on J&K budget. Like you rightly talked about the utilization of the budget and for the sustainable development. You talks about the development of the roads and railways in the Kashmir. Thank you so much for this initial discussion. Now, I request that Dr. Firdos, shall we proceed with some related questions regarding the J&K budget?
Yes, please. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are very audible.
Yes, now you can, put your important questions regarding the budget. So I would like
we
to
will
have a
proceed with
few.
some very related questions that many of the panelists have already discussed a bit, so we will get some good insights from the experts. So the first question we have made is, how can we strengthen the administrative capabilities and governance structure to ensure the effective implementations of the budget allocation? Because the effectiveness of the implementation of budget matters a lot, as discussed here now. So actually, it's the general question for all the experts. So you have your views on it. It will be followed by some other questions. So first, we'll talk about it.
Can you come again? I am not able to hear because voice was breaking. Dr. Ways, please. You are mute. You are mute. Can you?
So it's actually how can we strengthen administrative capacities and governance structures to ensure effective implementation of budget allocations? Because the effective implementation of budget matters a lot. As we have already discussed it, many panels have talked about this. It's actually for general for all. You can take lead, sir, since you are now.
Yes. Okay. Dr. Weiss, as I have told you that whatever government is estimating, they are unable to actually realize that. For example, for the financial year 23-24, revenue receipt which they have projected were around 1 lakh. Uh, some 1 lakh crore rupees, more than 1 lakh crore rupees, and what they have been able to realize is approximately 84,000 crore rupees. Similarly, tax revenues were more than 20,000 crore rupees, but they realized only 16,000 crore rupees. And non-tax revenues were estimated at 13,593 crore rupees. What they realized is 7,800 crore rupees. So from here, what we can make out that there either the administrative structure is not efficient or there is a leakage. So by way of tax revenue, they are unable to tax all the transactions, or there is some sort of leakage. So we have to plug these leakages by simple way, reduce the human interference and involve more of the technology. So for example, if we take an example of motor vehicle tax or road tax, so we think we should replace human interference, and technology is involved because these things are easily done in most of the metropolitan cities in our country. For example, Chandigarh is doing well, Delhi is doing well. So that can be one of the thing. Other panelists can suggest other measures as well. Thank you.
Owais, may I? I think Dr. Mehak mentioned it very clearly during her initial statements only that the state needs a proper industrial policy before entering into the allocative measures and everything. Like Dr. Sunil is also mentioning about technology. Yes, implementing technological aspect in industrial development is the key to growth. And herein, I believe the major allocation is towards acceleration of the economic growth. But like looking into other aspects of the state, the climatic conditions and the sustainability factor, then again, we are on a threshold where implementing technological aspect in industrial development might create certain aspects, negative impacts towards our climatic conditions, right? But yeah, I think these two aspects, technology and a proper industrial policy in place, can also look forward to a proper allocative measure. Maybe that's what I can suggest.
Thank you. Dr. Mehak, your comments on it.
Yeah, I would like to. I agree with Dr. Sunil and Dr. Jasmeet, but my point is that recently, like since I specialize a bit in industrial policy, so I was analyzing one industrial policy, and we were just looking how it's going to be implemented. They came up with a superseded new industrial policy one, which I, in a way, found good because there were a lot of lacuna in the previous industrial policy, and this time the government is really showing a willingness to learn from the mistakes in the immediate time period and then change it, which is a very good thing. So I think the same things can be done about the budget. I think the budget should always be, at least in the present day times, where you have technology and where you have access to people's perspective, where you have business community, on the board, and you have common people and you have academicians like us. So we really need changes, and some changes are sometimes very uncomfortable to all of us also, and it can be to the system also, because the system is a very long run kind of a phenomena. It's structurally built one layer after another, so anything can be taken as a systemic way. So I suggest, as a person who is in academia and who is in a way linked to industry, it's that the budget and any other document should be open to discussion. It should be left open to people like us. They should be open to comments, and feedback reports should be made very much a regular exercise. We should be open to it, and then there is always a chance to discuss it, test it, and then apply it. They have been doing that with industrial policies lately. Appreciated, like industrial policy was very good. They found some problems with it. They came up with the startup policy, which is a very recent phenomena. And if they see problems with startup policy, maybe they can come up with something else. But that is just one very small fraction of our economy. We need it about sustainability. We need it about all other aspects of budget. So here, through this platform and through any other platform that I get a chance of speaking at, I would really, really vouch for this very immediate change that we need, which is stakeholder engagement. Stakeholder engagement at every level is needed, and I think government is showing some, thumbs ups for that, and we would appreciate more of it so that everybody's welfare is taken into consideration. Yeah.
Thank
over
you,
to
ma'am. Thank you so much. Before proceeding for another question, I request Dr. Mehak Jonjua, please have your comments if you have any.
Yeah, thanks. Actually, the emphasis of the budget is also on strengthening this grassroots democracy with massive flow of funds for all the three eyes of the Panchayati Raj, with efforts on holistic improvement in the infrastructure, road, water, setting up of agro-based small-scale industries to double the income of farmers and other villagers. And that's, I think, also very important, where I think employment will be created and economy will be boosted. The strengthening of rural healthcare has also received good importance in this budget. And then the power sector reforms and augmentation of the distribution network will continue in the budget, and the projection of doubling the electricity generation capacity in the coming years is also important, because in the last 5 years we have seen that electricity, the J&K people has to face a lot of electricity shortage, and importance on this sector will definitely give a boost to the economy. Agriculture and horticulture, which is gaining momentum, and in this budget, special emphasis and focus has been given to the agriculture and horticulture sector as well, and setting up farming with the multiple crops, reducing this pre and post harvesting loss, which used to happen, but in this budget we have included that as well. So I think in all, it's a good budget, but especially, importance is that we actually do it. There are it has been laid down in the budget, but how we do it is now the main question.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We'll proceed with some another questions. So
before we will proceed to next question, I would like to jump here.
Yes, sir. Please, Doctor.
As we are, discussing the important document of J&K economy, and there were, beautiful insights of the panelists. But to understand, current budget, I think we should, look what has happened to the previous budget. So there is the concept in the budget allocation and utilization. Unfortunately, J&K budget remain, unutilized, more than 6,000 crore. As responding to your the question that what strategies, what governing strategies J&K economy needs. This is a big question mark. Why such a huge budget remain unutilized? And if we see in every sector, it has remained alive. So therefore, making a beautiful paperwork, making great announcement that we will do this sector, this way or that way, we will include technology. The ground realities are quite different. J&K is one of the unique states which is having, it is special climate, which remains almost closer from the other region of the India, almost 1 or 2 months, if there is a, hardcore weather. Therefore, to understand this, what strategies we have to, we should have, and how to understand that how we can utilize our budget fruitfully in different projects. For that, the local leadership will, much more understand than the leadership which is coming out outside the city. The players, the stakeholders, the policymakers who are outside the city, they need time to understand the climate condition. It is very hard for them to design and to implement the policies and work on this budget to work. So therefore, the local leadership which is missing since last 10 years. Bureaucrats are there, but political leadership is a great motivation to work. So this was my point that, to make a point on the current budget, we have to understand the background of the previous budget, which remain almost 6,000 crore underutilized. And the primary sectors like health, we have more than 5 crore underutilized. Education. So therefore, I will, request to panelists, to make some, critical approach while, explaining the point. Budget, money is very good. Money is a very good thing. To give money, it is very good thing. To document the thing, it is really, everyone appreciated that we have got such type of money. But it remains underutilized. So that is the question. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Firdous, for your good comments, like the inclusion of local leadership in making up the budget. It's actually very need of an hour for now. Thank you, Dr. Firdous. We'll move on with another questions like the questions.
Dr. Firdaus, can I come in?
Yes, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
We are actually here for dialogue and we want to learn from them. Yes.
Okay, Dr. Firdaus, very well. You have pointed out very important and critical thing which is actually happening in Jammu and Kashmir, because we all belong to Jammu and Kashmir, so we know things happening. So two important points which I want to make. One is delay in implementation of whatever the sanctioned projects are. In almost all the sectors it is happening, whether it is delay in the tendering process, whether it is number of things. So number one, we have to make this process very dynamic and very efficient, and that's why I said technological interventions are very important. Number one. Second important point which we have seen, and you might have seen at your places also, the low quality asset creation, the quality of work which is being implemented. Okay, it's not up to that particular level. So over and over again we are actually spending the money on a same asset which is being created. So I think this thing should be taken. One, it should be fast, it should be dynamic, and it should be done with the technological intervention. Second, the inspection and monitoring system of the assets which are being created, because on the one side we are unable to spend our funds, And on the other side, our education system is starving, our tourism sector is starving, our horticulture sector is starving, our irrigation sector is starving. So we have funds which are lying idle and going back again to the center. On the other hand, we have ailing sectors. For example, you can see the condition of rural education, primary education. You can see the infrastructure which the primary and middle schools have. So in this case, one should have a very well designed approach, very proactive approach, and technologically intervention approach with a time bound project completion things. Okay, only then we can make Jammu Kashmir what we are thinking of making it. And it's very important, I again retreat my point, that we are living in young Himalayas. It's very fragile ecosystem, and what we have seen from, for example, Ramban to Banal, from the last 5 years we have been seeing a road construction, and we are witnessing that. We are witnessing local earthquakes, we are witnessing local cloudburst. So it is time we develop, we plan our development, but it should be properly sustainable development so that we can live happily. Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to add to what Dr. Sunil was saying about the informed policy. I totally agree with that. There is just a practical example. If some of you might be traveling from Srinagar and other places, so we are seeing that at the places where the roads were very much waterlogged, now they are putting the tiles in there with the hope that maybe it would be durable, because of course it's not efficient to spend money on same thing again and again. I in my own colony, I see every year this whole maximization thing is coming. They're making the road. Somebody wants a water connection or something, they are digging the road again. They're investing on the same thing, which is very efficient. Scientific and social information is very important. Any project we are going to make, we need to get it assessed from scientists who mean science. We need to do a cost benefit analysis from the social scientists who mean social science. Not just some, once I met a bureaucrat and that was a retired person. I asked, yeah, how do you make policies? Because I was very curious, as a little learning economist. So from building from that, I came to realize that it's very important for our budget to be, like Dr. Firdaus rightly mentioned, 6,000 crores are being lapsed. Come on, can we afford that? We cannot afford that. There are people in our institution who come for funding for entrepreneurship and other thing every day. We are not able to fund them because we think we don't have money, but in actuality we have a lot of money. We are not able to know where to put it. So yes, of course the focal sectors need to be given some extra things. The lag sectors need to be given some extra thing. And thought process is important. I think the budget is good. We have good finance. We have good idealizations of the thing. We have good aspirations. But the only thing that we really need is an informed scientific and an informed social intervention. Once that is done, I think the dream of having a completely utilized budget can be realized after all. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Firdaus, would you like to respond, or we will move with another question?
No, as both the panelists say, they have given replies to in my favor. So let me, raise, one more important point to have more discussion.
Yes,
That as Professor Sunil Bhardwaj and Mehak, Dr. Mehak, they have highlighted about the sensitive
before moving to the
environment we
another
are.
question, Dr. Jaskaran has raised their hand.
So let me finish, then you can take. So as we are, in the ecosystem, which is, as outside India, our weather is, quite different. These days we are having a natural type of AC. Now, as we are witness that it is day by day, hot wave is going on. Environment is changing. The important thing in J&K economy is we are rich in water resources, both groundwater and surface water. So if the development plans will be going without, taking care of the sustainability, then this economy, will lose its importance, and there will be nothing left, as the dry spell has hit it, so much our agriculture sector. And in winters, we have faced the same problem. dry winter has, also affected negative. So what I have documented one paper which is, under process. In that paper, what we have done, we have tried to understand the policy perspective, whatever the policy government is bringing, whether at national level or local level. There is one thing missing in those policies, that is forecasting measurement. For example, government of India has to implement any policy in Jammu and Kashmir. They are not keeping funds for forecast. So if we have to make the expenditure of 1 crore, let us suppose, outside the J&K, it can be run smooth. But because of volatile weather situation in J&K, this 1 crore will be insufficient, because there are forecasting predictions which are uncertain to us. So I have seen critically the policies or schemes which are implemented in J&K, they get lapsed or delayed due to these forecasting failures, which are not allowing the administration to run those programs. So forecasting measure with respect to sustainability, it is a great concern for such a beautiful economy. People are considering J&K is a beautiful state having a lot of water resources and all. It looks like a natural AC these days for those people who are outside the J&K. But it is a greater concern as sustainable challenges are concerned. It will devastate this economy and maybe all this population. What we are witnessing in Kerala, what is happening, and the volatile regions of Ramban and all. Therefore, policymakers have to think wisely. As railway project is going on, connectivity of rail, it is having negative threat to our ecosystem. And the geologists, the experts, and scientists, they have already given warning that such type of projects cannot run. So it is the government, they have to decide whether it will be fruitful. To connect a rail by money, by force, it is one side. People will say yes, development is good. But on the other side, it can make a calamity. So this is my point regarding the sustainability. You can take other point.
Thank you, Dr. Firdous. Dr. Jasmeet, can you please open your mic and ask?
Thank you, Owais, letting me to intervene. In fact, when I was listening to the panelist, like Firdaus was pointing out that something that is critical evaluation while discussing the Jammu and Kashmir budget, I think some sort of missing. For example, all the panelists have given up their thumbs up for the allocation, for the schemes. But the one thing I think missing in this discussion, that is the problem of unemployment in Jammu and Kashmir. When I see the data of CMI, I think Jammu and Kashmir is among the top 3 states and UTs when we see the unemployment situation in India. If we then what is in this budget to tackle this problem of unemployment? You are saying that yes, there is very good allocation for the agriculture sector. But when we see the employment elasticity in agriculture throughout the world, in fact, it is negative. Even in the states like Punjab, Haryana, which are the heartthrob of education, agriculture, even those states are not creating the employability. Then what we can expect in J&K? And the second thing that I would like to mention here, that yes, center is contributing in revenue receipt, then yes, it is their liability. J&K doesn't have the statehood. Then you can blame the Jammu and Kashmir that they are not generating their own revenue. If the Jammu and Kashmir is not generating their own revenue because they don't have their own state structure, then this is center's liability. They will have to provide the funds. The second thing, yes, there is very good allocation for capital expenditure. I was finding that around 32% capital expenditure in the budget allocation. But you see, they have declined the budgetary allocation on hospitality in your budget. One thing, yes, we will have to see that in Jammu and Kashmir, tourism is one of the most important sector. It can generate employability. Then what they are doing for this sector? I think being a student of economics, I think we will have to see this point also. What they are doing for those sector which can generate employment in J&K, like the problem of insurgency and many other things that create disturbance. First and foremost thing is that the state with the expenditure, the state will have to provide employment to the youth. But in this budget, is there any indication that they will generate employment? I want some comments from the panelists.
Dr.
Thank you
Singh,
for this opportunity. Thank you.
thank you, thank you. Dr. Singh, can I intervene?
Yes, sir. Yes, yes.
Okay, very well said. Yes, you have made three important points, if I can recall. One is related to tourism. Yes, I am myself finding it that very less amount has been allocated for tourism. It's approximately 123 crore rupees, and tourism is one of the main sector of Jammu and Kashmir economy. It contributes 8% currently to the GDP of Jammu and Kashmir. So yes, tourism sector must be prioritized, and it must be priority if we want to create employment as well as GDP growth. But I disagree with your 2 points. One is related to when you said that Jammu and Kashmir is liability of India, liability of central government to provide funding. We are not talking about that. We are actually saying that whatever funding has been provided over the years, it is not rationally, properly, practically used in such a way so that long term asset creation can be done. Because had it been done in that way, today the contribution from different sectors would have been higher in our GDP. Yes, central government provides, and it keeps on providing whatever the shortfall is there, that is they are doing. But we are talking about the utilization of funds, not whether it's a liability of central government or not. We are talking about utilization of funds. And second important point which you made, that there is a very good allocation into agriculture and allied sector. Yes, agriculture and allied sector, it is a capital, it's a labor intensive sector. We know that, we are students of economics, we do tourism as well as agriculture. So yes, when we talk of employment, it's not about jobs, it's not about government jobs only. But once these tourism sector as well as primary sector gets good allocation, and when we can reach to our threshold level, so employment generation in the unskilled sector, as well as government is talking about value addition of the agriculture products as well. So that means small scale manufacturing sector can come in based on the threshold we have, that we can develop, because we have not done anything. I mean, we have done very little in agriculture, value addition in the agriculture products, that we can done. And now we have one district one product sort of things. GI tag has been given to Kaladi, Gucci, Kesar, Basoli paintings, Rajma, honey. Means I think in Jammu itself, which I know, and I am doing one of the project on these products as well. So there are approximately 10 products on which GI tag has been given. But how now these products can be made into a business, and how employment generation can be done, we should have a clear cut plan on this. Backward integration is very important, and forward integration is at most important. You understand this. So I think, and second important thing, I want to respond to Dr. Mehak as well. Yes, in many sectors, for example, in tourism, at some spots, we may have reached near to threshold, but there are number of tourist spots where we are far from threshold. We have not developed anything in those spots, and there are certain areas. For example, if I can talk about Sioj, if I can talk about Pir Panjal range, if I can talk of Shiv Gali, if I can talk of Doodh Padri, Jusmarg, and number of areas in Kashmir, or even Gurez and all, where we have a threshold level still far away what we have developed. So we have to develop these areas. We can boost, for example, in agriculture sector, lot of work has to be done. We have done a very little on pisciculture, on horticulture, on for example, these fish culture, poultry, as well as dairy. We have done a very little, because these allied sector can be explored, and it can be, even as we take a simple example, we consume a lot of non-veg in Jammu and Kashmir, right? But most of the poultry is coming from Punjab and Haryana. So these are the certain areas we can think on, and we can develop it. It can add to employment, it can add to GDP growth as well. Thank you.
I would like to jump in here. First of all, I disagree with the liability argument. If going by the liability argument, Japan was a very big liability on the whole world. Japan had no resources. Maybe 300 years back, I'm talking. Did Japan end up dying? It did not. Why? Because they used their mind. They created their human capital. That's one point. Second, very important thing that I would want to pitch in here is about the unemployment problem. Why is unemployment high in Jammu and Kashmir? One, because during the 1950s, whatever the then state's policy was, it was that the public sector would employ most number of people. Obviously, it's not a sustainable model. It did not happen that way. Initially, public sector employment went up. It drastically came down over the next 40, 50 years. That's one thing. The number second thing here is that we need to understand that given the geographic conditions, there is not industrial feasibility in Jammu and Kashmir, which means that all the big employers that are in the rest of the country, they do not find it productive to set up their units in Jammu and Kashmir, despite a number of attempts that the government has made. It's not feasible. Government is trying. Of course, government would incentivize them, but once you think from a businessman's perspective, they care about their timelines, they care about their profit. Both ways, it's not feasible in Jammu Kashmir. It means that the problem is not with the government, or the problem has not been with the policy. Essentially, it is a concept of new economic geography. If I don't know, some of us know that it's a geographic problem. We are a land bound place. We are bound by mountains. That is a major problem we have to deal it. Have to think like Japan. How do we solve our problems? Number two, the government has been trying its best to do the efficient utilization of its resources. What is that? It has been trying to imbibe an entrepreneurial culture. So if you look at a number of policies that have been given after 2010, you have a major industrial policy of 2016, you have startup policy, you have the tourism policies. The government is trying to develop the feasible micro, small, and medium sector within the Jammu and Kashmir. That is the best. I think if I would have been a policy maker, no matter how critical I am, that was the best I could have given. Initially, I also was a criticized with why are they not employing? But once you come from this side and you see from the employer's perspective, it's very different. Employment creation in modern day world is very difficult. We go from the Asian Tigers model, it is only and only entrepreneurship. And with the limited resources, geographic constraints we have, I think whatever is happening for the best. Of course, like Dr. Sunil said, there are leakages. We need to plug in the leakages. But more or less, if we want to develop sustainably, we have to follow this MSME policy, this tourism policy, so that eventually one person is employed, a number of them are employed, and cluster employment is created, which is very micro level informed. So yeah, that's from my side on this thing.
Dr. Altaf Chaudhary has raised their hand. Dr. Chaudhary, can you please open up your mic? And
yes, am I audible?
Yes, you are very much audible.
Very good evening to all of you. I am Dr. Altaf, Assistant Director in the Ministry of MSMEs. First of all, I will thank you to Jammu Kashmir Economic Association to give me a chance to speak on the most important budget, Jammu and Kashmir budget. I will mostly focus on the industries. Actually, because my research area is also on the MSMEs. So see, if we see that the scenario which was between 2 years or 4 years back now has changed. If I will say that the problems which were MSMEs were facing or industrial or any utility units are facing 2 years or 4 years back, now scenario has changed. See, the government has increased the budget in the industrial sector because, first of all, the government has started the base where the industries has set up. See, when I done my PhD, that was the biggest problem which was facing the infrastructure problem. See, Jammu and Kashmir has a different demography, and the connectivity was the biggest issue. Suppose our industry is making a product, for that they need a market, because the only market was suppose the industry is in Kashmir, the only market is in a territory, within a territory. But now this road, that infrastructure development, now the rail connectivity is there. So this problem will be streamlined. Next, second is the finance. Now, MSMEs, now I think, very less financial issues they are facing, because this time government is providing a more than 80% collateral-free loans. Collateral-free loans more than 80% to the new startups, to the existing units, and also in the crunch area like advertisements, branding, and all these things. Government is providing more than 80%, up to 90% subsidies in these areas. So in this budget, two things which government is focusing on: the industrial development, increase the budget industry and export. That is the good area. See, we are, if we talk about the employment, we are focused on the government jobs. That is the one lacking. One thing is that the trust of the peoples on the government, there is the biggest issue. This is the MSME or industrial sector is the biggest which provide employment to the youth. This is the biggest. This is the biggest area. And if we will go through, I will say that in coming area we will face the problem in MSMEs and industrial area. We will face the issues of skilled labor. So there is need, if I am right, there is need a collaboration of academia and industrialization, so that the new area or potential area which is upcoming, and the collaboration with new research will explore, that will help to promote the new startups in this area. Next is the tourism. Tourism is the biggest revenue generator of the Union Territory of J&K. So we are this time, we will not say that we will reach the boom condition or peak. Still, like I'm agree with the professor who has said that Pir Panjal area, this area, there is a high potential in this unemployment, tourism, which is unexplored. So there is need to government to focus on this area, so that new tourism spots can be explored and the new revenue generation can be created. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chaudhary.
I think with tourism, we are facing a kind of sustainability problem at the moment. I was recently doing some research along with my students about the whole smart city concept, which is related to tourism and tourism boosting. So we try to look at cabs, the Ola and Uber cabs that we have in Srinagar. For example, we try to look at these battery autos and then these big electric red buses. It turns out that currently our road capacity is very limited. We have not been able to really expand on it, like some of the panelists rightly mentioned that Dr. Sunil also mentioned this, that we are reinvesting on the same road again and again. It means that road budget is spent on the previous year's road. There is no road expansion. So what we found out from the whole field work that we did was that currently the tourism policy is very much unsustainable. Though the tourism policy that's on paper, it's not really being implemented. The tourism we are going through, like for example, I live on the Hazratbal side of Srinagar, and My office is in Avantipura. I have to travel from Nishad sometimes, and it's such a big mess that it takes 2 hours to cross those 2 kilometers. It means that we really need to allocate our budget and all other developmental policies in such a way. Of course, tourism is going to be our backbone. We are selling the goodwill, it has to be there. But the point is sustainability. We really need to look at one, the carrying capacity of our environment, the carrying capacity, current carrying capacity of our economy, and then have tourism grow with bounce and checks. That is very important. So I think we all need to work together proposing a better sustainable tourism solution, because tourism is important, but current tourism scenario is highly unsustainable. So it would create problems for the environment, economy, citizens all together. So that is the take I really want to, put pin here, that we need to work on the sustainability aspects of our economy, including the tourism sector.
So I want to add to Dr. Mehak's point, because I myself have witnessed that. I went to Pahalgam, I couldn't reach Pahalgam because it's 8 kilometer jam in Pahalgam, and same is the case with the Landier thing. What I think, what we have proposed in Jammu itself, that we should develop village tourism. We should spread tourism to our rural areas. We can give some money in the hands of local people. For example, any sort of for developing. We have done this work in Bhardwaj livelihood mission. 50,000 rupees has been given to develop one room for the tourist at your home. So you can develop 2 rooms, you can develop 3 rooms. So they can be given to you, and tourists from India, from abroad, they will come, they will stay at your home. You will cook food for them, you will earn. So employment generation can take place, GDP boosting can take place, and crowding at very famous tourist places can come down. So we have to develop, we need not to develop some sites in Jammu and Kashmir. We have to develop Jammu and Kashmir as a tourist hub. So only few places are not tourist spots. Overall, Jammu and Kashmir is a tourist spot, because every place has their own beauty, own characteristics. So people love to visit. We are trying to do it on experimental basis, but we are getting very good results. So that's how we have to promote and develop our tourism. That's my opinion, means personal opinion, that can be done. Thank you.
I think there was one hand in what has raised. If the hand is settled there, then we can give him opportunity. If not, then
No, it's not there. I think it was some by mistake.
okay. One important point which Dr. Jaskaran has highlighted about in our union territory is having highest on. The question was that we are unable to have industrialization, but I think private sector is missing in J&K. So one of the pertinent areas where lot of unemployment can be absorbed is private education sector. We are having implementation of, if we allow private stakeholders to establish private universities in Jammu and Kashmir, because most of our youth is employed outside the city. They are working in different primarily institutions across the India. They are working there for professors and at different education institutions. So I think lot of students, they are leaving J&K to educate themselves, whether it is Delhi, Chandigarh. Chandigarh is the hub of Jammu and Kashmir. And Punjab Technical University is called by the name of Kashmir University. So a lot of our youth, they are educating themselves outside the city. And private sector is missing. Private universities are in Jammu and Kashmir. If private sector will come, it will make the education sector competitive, and definitely it will increase the employment. So this is one thing I want to add. So let us give opportunity to other speaker, Dr. Jasmeet Lamba. She is in quite long.
I think we'll forward some more questions, so we will have a good discussion on it.
Yes,
Otherwise, we
please
are
go
just
ahead.
following one question and we are just moving around it.
Yes, please.
Yes. We have the one question that what strategies can be developed to enhance local revenue generation and reduce J&K's dependence on central grants? As already pointed out by Dr. Sunil and Dr. Majid, that 34% of budget comes from this center. So what can be done to reduce this dependencies on the central grants? And one more question is I think it's very interlinked to it. And what measures can be taken to ensure the balanced development between the rural and urban areas to address the disparities and promote inclusive growth?
I would take the first one. The solution is that we don't want the grants to decrease. Let them come in, but the point is how we are utilizing the grants. The solution is entrepreneurship. We need to invest in feasible and sustainable entrepreneurship and keep the grants coming in. The more grants we get, the more properly channeled they are, the better our economy would grow. One very important point, I think, which I and others forgot to mention at the initial part of the discussion is the fact that Jammu and Kashmir economy is a consumer economy. It's a very big problem. Like Dr. Sunil mentioned that we are non-veg eaters, but all the non-veg is coming from the rest of the country. It's not being generating from within. So the major problem we have is that we are a consumer economy, and let the grants come in, but let's create a policy which puts the grant in a sustainability kind of a solution where more is generated out of this, and the other grants that they are coming, it actually helps Kashmir become a producer economy than just being a small consumer economy, which is not really sustainable. The second one, anyone else can take.
So yes, can you repeat the second one?
Yes.
I think
I'm
panelist
just
has
going to
missed.
repeat it. So what measures can be taken to ensure the balanced development between the rural and urban areas to address the disparities and promote inclusive growth?
So,
Can
that's
I
it.
come in? Can I come in?
Yes, please, sir.
Yes, sir, please.
So, okay. So it's a very important question. In fact, the disparity between urban and rural is there. Rich and poor is high in Jammu and Kashmir. So, in order to handle this particular thing, what I think we should work on developing modern villages. In spite of developing modern cities, we should try to develop modern villages. We have means in papers modern villages, but they are less than even an average village. Modern village in the sense, first important thing is road connectivity. All weather road connectivity is very important. Another very good step which the government has taken is development of district level huts. Whatever can be produced in a village, if that can be processed value added, that can be sold at a district hut, which is means I think a few of the huts they have made. We have seen one in Udhampur, one in Jammu, and likely they have made that. This is a model, but it should not be a symbolical model. It should be done in a missionary mode, right? So what we have to do, we have to on the one hand we have to develop our agriculture, on the other hand we have to value add to our means agriculture products, means development of micro industries, and then forward integration with the market at district and state level, so that whatever can be produced that can be sold as well. Second important point in this, whatever our people are producing by way of self-help groups, by way of means small and micro industries, they are not matching the quality parameters. So here the training part comes in, hand holding parts comes in, financing part comes in. So we have to make our products competitive to the market at the state and national level. Only then it can add to the economy, right? For example, Dr. Mehak has given the example of Japan, very good, and simultaneously we can cite an example of Switzerland. Switzerland is a country with limited resources. Okay, so it is famous for tourism, but it is not the tourism which is the main backbone of Switzerland economy, right? It is the technology industry, your watch industry, your Swiss knife, which they have developed. So on the one hand, we have to develop agriculture and allied, we have to develop tourism, we have to develop manufacturing, micro and small manufacturing. And one important thing that Dr. Firdos has said related to our professors, doctors, as well as our human resource who are working in IPOs and KPOs outside Jammu and Kashmir. So service industry can easily come in Kashmir, in Jammu. And for example, I propose to develop rural IPOs and KPOs. I propose to develop, for example, rural call centers. Why we have a call center at Jammu itself? Why we have a call center in Kashmir itself? Why don't we have a call center in Gurez itself? So, what basic requirement, basic infrastructure facilities has to be provided at the village level. Means if you develop a village, you can provide the all sort of facility. You can set up a call center there, you can set up a KPO there. And means I think this is sufficient. We have a lot to talk about, but I think this is sufficient. We have to develop modern villages. Okay, we have to reduce immigration as well. Rural urban immigration is a important thing. You are seeing our crowding cities. Most of our big cities have reached their threshold, so there is a lot of stress on all the sort of resources. So we have to spread, we have to see Jammu and Kashmir as whole Jammu and Kashmir. Only in this way I think disparity can be reduced and equitable development can be done, right? This is all from my side.
You are having any more questions, guys?
Hello,
I think
everyone.
I have.
Can I add something over here? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're very much audible. Please.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Ms. Kaur from Abu Dhabi. I'm a resident of India. Well, when we talk about Jammu and Kashmir, the first thing that comes to the foreigner's mind is tourism. But what about the safety and peacefulness over there? This is stopping people, or this is restricting people to travel to Jammu and Kashmir due to safety reasons. So I feel that more importance should be given to safety. That will increase the tourism part, which can bring income to the country and as well as develop Jammu and Kashmir on the whole.
Well, Kausar, in the time of Instagram, you should really look at the trending reels. It's very safe. There are a lot of people from across the world that are coming here. So please just have a hashtag Kashmir, something like that, and you will see that it's probably safe. We did not register anything untowards in the past 1 year or so. So you're most welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. But what I hear from many overseas, they say when we talk about India, they prefer going to other cities rather than Kashmir due to this all political issues and all those stuff. So why not to make Kashmir, it's also called a place, a heaven on the earth. Why not to keep that? Why not more budget should be allocated for all these stuff for safety reasons?
Okay,
Dr. Sunil, please take over on this.
Yes.
Well, I know I'm taking it to the other side, but
no. It's very important and it's very critical issue, ma'am. What you are saying, but I propose Dr. Firdos to do a panel discussion on security in Jammu and Kashmir because it's a big matter. So we can have a discussion for at least 1.5 hours. But very briefly, security. What I see in Jammu and Kashmir is. One, this government has been very hard on the activities which are trying to create nuisance in Jammu and Kashmir, but governments, UN, neighboring countries, and all cannot do anything until and unless people of Jammu and Kashmir stand and say that we want to make this Jammu and Kashmir safe and secure, because responsibility lies on us as well. over the last few years, there has been tremendous decline in number of these type of activities. So we are happy, and that's why we are seeing a rush of tourism in Jammu and Kashmir. But I think it's a important issue. But presently, I can assure you, presently Jammu and Kashmir is safe. We can have a different discussion, because it is a long discussion, because whenever Jammu and Kashmir comes into play, so we have to see what China is planning, what Pakistan is planning, what India is planning, what is overall scenario, what the people are thinking. So there are not number of dimension to all these security scenario, and this, it is not only the people of Jammu and Kashmir, means who are responsible for it. So means I think it's a long discussion. So let's keep our discussion to the budget this time. But ma'am, you are safe. Anytime you want to visit, you can call any of us or all of us. Your safety will be secured 100%.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate.
So thank you very much for this, important question. Let us, quickly give opportunity to Professor Jasmeet Lamba, as she has left, soon. Kindly make your, final remarks, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Firdous. I only have, like I've been observing some questions, of course, and international question as well. And I've been observing our two local academicians here. One thing, yes, that I can say, being an Indian traveling around the entire world uh, and living abroad since last 15 years, safety and security is definitely political measure for sure, but it also, largely it's everywhere in the world now. I cannot say that, oh my God, JK is not safe. No. I mean, I've walked around the safest countries myself, and I've been advised, you know, please avoid certain time periods, please avoid certain locations. So it's all around the world. But yes, before entering into any other economy or any other area, you need to reconfirm. Maybe that's where the local academicians will play a greater role. So one thing is that. Secondly, yes, I like the answer given to that question, wherein you need to merge the inclusion, or maybe more inclusive policy measures should be there when you adapt to merge urban and rural areas in J&K. I myself I've never visited Jammu and Kashmir, but I'm an econometrician by default. So we follow the numbers, right? We follow the budgetary constraints and all those other aspects also. But I would be glad if, any certain document or any particular page on IG wherein they tell us that apart from major tourist attractions, you should also visit these places. So, I mean, being an Indian myself, I myself need to know that, okay, apart from the major attractions, there are small attractions also which could be even similarly beautiful than other attractions in J&K. So this is something, which would bridge the gap in between Jammu and Kashmir as a state and other states in India, of course. And of course, the tourism, as we say, has to enhance a lot. Lastly, I would also mention the point that agricultural aspect, I've seen around the world when people picking up apples and tell me that this is from Kashmir, from India. And, you're looking at an apple produced in Kashmir in India, and you're looking at an apple being sold in Walmart in US. So, Jammu and Kashmir is already international. We just have to make it further more available, maybe, and approachable. That's all I would like to end my comments upon. That's all. And thank you. Thank you so much to all the other panelists. It felt like we are really missing out too much from not just numbers. We are actually missing out the local information as well. And I would like to thank Dr. Firdous also to give for the opportunity given to me, to listen about such a beautiful state altogether. Yeah. Thank you.
We are glad, ma'am, to have you as you are living. So I would like to say thanks to you that you have accepted our invitation quite quickly and given us your precious time. We are thankful. Thank you very much. Yes, yes, you can continue now.
We have two, three questions. Very quickly, I will put it's actually how we can promote the economic diversification in Jammu and Kashmir to reduce the reliance on tourism and agriculture and encourage the sectors like the manufacturing and IT. As Dr. Sunil rightly pointed out, the example of Switzerland right now. And we have another question that one comprehensive agriculture reforms are to be needed to modernize farming techniques, improve market access, and support organic farming in Jammu and Kashmir. These are the very two quick questions from my side.
Actually, I think you have, mixed up the questions. We are unable to,
No, I will just separate them.
Yes,
First question is
separate
how
them.
we can promote economic diversification in Jammu and Kashmir to reduce reliance on tourism and agriculture and encourage the sectors like manufacturing and IT.
Actually, as I have mentioned that, service sector has to play a role. For service, developing the service sector, we need to, develop infrastructure. As I have given the example of education. And now you are, including technology in it. So technology is a, need of Java. So for that, we again need, infrastructure. We have to develop the infrastructure. We have, as there is new business model transition from traditional business models to, commercial business model. And we are talking about that, how we can, merge or make rural areas commercialized and to compete them with the urban areas. So this all needs technology. This all needs, infrastructure. This all needs investment.
Owais, I think we don't need to be jack of all trades and master of none. It applies to the economy as well. We would very much want to specialize in two, three, four sectors, maybe where we have a comparative advantage. I do not want us doing manufacturing and ruining our environment and damaging it for all of us. So the best thing we can do, like any other successful economy has, identify our potential sectors, identify the sectors where we sustainably can grow, which is feasible to environment, to local population and other parameters, and then develop them. So I really believe in that kind of thing, and I would really want to propose that kind of developmental strategy for Jammu and Kashmir.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So
I have one
yes.
more. Yes, Dr. Firdous. I have one more question. It will be a last question from my side. There is a one change in the J&K budget that we have seen recently. That last year it was around 12% of the total budget of J&K was allocated to the J&K police. And this year the J&K police will receive the fund allocated solely from the union budget. And how do you see this change benefiting the persons of J&K police and in public in the general? Because we say that the fund that was allocated this year for the J&K, it's actually increased by 1.2%. And if we will reduce the 12% of the budget that was allocated to the J&K police, so how it will be benefit to the general public and the police personnel from J&K police?
I would not, yeah, please, Dr. Sunil, if you can go in the numbers, but I can just give you one developmental.
No, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Which is that peace is the prerequisite of development. We cannot go on saying that we are going on the path of development and work in the absence of peace. So maybe the past budget had a big allocation of police. Maybe it was required because for the state, maybe state doesn't see like us. They need to give numbers to the things, and that's how the machinery functions. So maybe the police budget was high because they wanted to have their proxies, their definitions of peace, which they thought maybe would be, by having police, which may be security for them. So that can be one thing. Now that there is stability and peace, it's good to have less defensive budget and other commercial budgets. So that may be one developmental statement. Maybe Dr. Sunil can look at the numbers and decode them for you.
I think this time also 65 crore rupees have been allocated for the security infrastructure, right? But a few days back, you might have seen one of the orders which was issued by uh, uh, the center, that now our Jammu and Kashmir police is directly under Home Ministry. It's similarly to the analogy of Delhi, right? So means they are actually after becoming union territory now, because assembly elections may be there. So they are trying to means more central oriented security they are trying to keep with themselves, and I think that's why they have taken these particular steps, and accordingly I think they are allocating to police and security forces, and I think but I don't think there is any much to say about this related to discussion in budget, because I am not a person from means this strategic defense and all. We know economy a little bit, we know finance a little bit. So it's a center's policy and how they are allocating that's. But this thing I will add to Mehak's point that security is a prerequisite for development, and for Jammu and Kashmir it's very important. We are land bound by two of our neighbors who are very notorious all the time. So we have to take measures to keep in mind the safety and security of people who are resident and who are visiting in Jammu and Kashmir. Only then means these developmental projects can go ahead. So that is one issue, and related to security I am not a person to means expert in that particular line. Thank you.
So yes, you have anything more to add?
No, not from my side. If the participants have some questions, they can raise hands or they can write in chat box, and they can directly open up their mics and ask the questions or query.
Yes, if any participant having any question, they can kindly, as we are going to wind up the session. So adding the last, inputs to the last question, that why the JNK Police budget has been taken by the center. So as students of economics, we can understand it is a non-development fund which is coming as salaries. So it hardly matters in the development of JNK. These are the services they are getting the salaries.
No,
So
Firdaus,
it is.
it matters. Sorry to intervene.
No,
It matters, but
I am
let's say it will create an ecosystem for development, right?
I am just
Yes,
Yes, yes.
my
I was
argument.
asking
Yes.
the same thing. It will
Anyways,
Just
a
create an
global debate
ecosystem
whether
for
it
the
is
development.
productive or not.
just on lighter note means it matters a lot, but yeah, means it's not part of our discussion. So we will
Yes,
pass
yes.
this question. We will pass this
Okay,
question.
okay.
It's anyways a global discussion whether defense is a productive or non-productive expenditure. So the whole world is having dual opinion. Or obviously, we would also have that.
Yes. So I was sharing my personal feelings about it. So let us stop it as it is something
I have one
our.
very important comment. I'm really thankful to Dr. Firdos, because I have been dealing with economics for a very long time, but it never occurred to me that, I should take the initiative and bring everybody on the platform and discuss, because I think we really need brainstorming. After all, it is on the local populace to think about local problems and propose solutions and discuss. So, Firdos, it's a wonderful effort on your part. I really, really appreciate it, because maybe I'm too tired and all of us are too tired from office and other things. It's a wonderful initiative. I really appreciate and congratulate you on taking the effort of pushing us all to come and discuss and come up with something very productive. Which, if we attain nothing, at least we attain a better perspective on how the development trajectory of Jammu and Kashmir should be. So, thank you and all the appreciations to you.
Thank you very much for your appreciation. As I was going to highlight one point regarding this, that we have discussed it in last union budget discussion, that academia dialogue is missing nowadays. That is one of the reasons why we are having sometimes bottlenecks in the policies, why policies are not so much effective. So since few years, the academia is missing. So I think our panel discussion on J&K budget, it is one of the unique, organization which is conducting panel discussion. There are thousands of institutions. Till now, I have no information reaching up every day to the newspapers, Facebook, LinkedIn. So I didn't find such an event that they are discussing the budget. So definitely, the need is that academicians should come forward. They should dialogue on important crucial points. Budget is one of the important points. So yes, you can have final remarks.
Before Dr. Owais can come in, I just want to thank Dr. Firdous for taking this lead, and best wishes to your organization as well. I want to thank all the panelists, Dr. Mehak, Dr. Owais, and I think Dr. Smita and many more. Some have left. So thank you very much. Thank you for having me on board. And anytime, whenever you need me, I am there for you, supporting you, your organization, because together we can make a difference, right? So we believe in synergy, right? And I request you, whenever I keep on organizing programs, so I request you to whenever I organize some of the programs, I will definitely invite you all for the discussion and for number of things. IUST is a very good university. For the first time, I visited IUST few days back. So it is very good university, and all the very best. Means your incubation center, and that is doing wonderful.
Thank you, Sunil.
Yes, that I know, and because I am myself associated with our Jammu University Entrepreneurship and Skill Development Center, so we are trying to make things happen, but together we can be more effective, right? So
Definitely.
whenever Dr. Firdaus you need me, I will be there for you. Anyone, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We are open to have collaborations and all. I am extending my association outside the JNK. We are having national representations, but it is quite a bit hard to assemble people from JNK. So I am trying my level best. I would love to connect the people to you and your connections. I would like to invite them, our member, JNK member, national member, and we are in process to announce some program in coming days. So thank you very much for providing your valuable time, great insights about the present discussion. So before Owais will hand over this session, I would request all the participants, can we have a group photo? All the participants, if you are in a position to open your camera, kindly open it. While Owais, you can do your final topic about it.
Yes, Dr. Firdous. We are very and highly thankful to all of our experts who gave us their precious time with us discuss all the things related to the JNK Budget 224. We are very thankful to all the participants who listens us, who are there, and for the active participation. We are very thankful to all of them. What I can say from my side. Thank you to all the
Okay.
experts.
So let me, take this opportunity to have final remarks about this panel discussion. Dear participants, dear panelists, I am very thankful on behalf of Jammu and Kashmir for, giving us time, especially our esteemed guests, Professor Sunil, Professor Mehak, and Dr. Owais. You have done a wonderful job moderating the session, and the participants who are with us in this last almost 2 hours. So we are very thankful for making this event successful, and we are looking forward for your participation and your suggestions how we can move forward and conduct such more sessions. Thanks once again. So we will be sharing the group photos, all the photography I have done. We will be sharing on our LinkedIn page, Jammu and Kashmir Economic Association. We are having Facebook page. I will be sharing here. This recording will be shared on our YouTube, and this will be our post video we are going to share. We are having so many videos, but they are in process and editing is going on. But I take the opportunity that we will upload post video on JNK economy that will be just by. So this was the news. So stay connected with us. We are going to update you through social media about more events. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you.
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone. Have a good time. See you all again very soon, hopefully. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
और बलवीर कहाँ थे अभी तक? So now we are stopping the recording.